even highlights that to a greater and greater level. For teachers, that means that we'll have a schedule where all teachers will have 6 instructional periods, 2 planning periods, and a lunch period. So as we learned in this endeavor, there is not a uniform middle school schedule. If you go to every middle school in the area, every one of their schedules is different. There's some common themes that each type of schedule has, but no 2 schools have the same schedule, which shows why that this is a complex process and it's taken us some time to land where we have. Every middle school has different schedules that serve different purposes. As I said a moment ago, some schools have limits on the choice and opportunities. For example, choosing world language or a fine arts opportunity. And also we learned that many of the aspects of our current schedule are really good. That's why we've had it for nearly 13 years and why it's continued to be implemented.
Let's get into a little bit of what that framework that we're talking about looks like. So students will have 6 academic classes every day. We're going to talk a little bit more about how this shakes down, but as a quick overview, in 6th grade, we'll have math, English language arts, science, social studies, world language, and this communications class that I mentioned earlier. And we'll come back to that shortly. In 7th grade, math, ELA, science, social studies, world language, and then also a new math course that we'll talk more about. Math practical applications is what we're calling that. And then in 8th grade, an ELA class, a specific writing class, math, science, social studies, world language as well. So really over the course of those 3 years, we're doing some reallocation and realignment of some of those subject areas that, and also creating that emphasis on literacy. And so we'll be talking more about that in just a minute. Students will have fine arts classes and wellness each day. Fine arts and wellness classes remain blocked together, as Joe had already mentioned. And then students will be given the opportunity to have that AB rotation as we still have it today. As I show you the schedule, that'll come up here in just a minute. That schedule includes 44-minute periods. There'll be some adjustment made to that, and we'll explain it in a minute. But all teachers will have their 6 sections of classes, 2 44-minute or 42-minute periods, depending upon the day. MTSS intervention periods are embedded into the day for students needing targeted support in reading, writing, and math. This will replace one academic course. So this is an adjustment that we were looking to make for students who need that level of support. Currently, really the only option is to be removed from a world language. And there are students who may need that level of support and find success in a world language and want to continue that way. So we're going to be working with individual families and individual students to make recommendations and adjustments for which class they might come out of for that tier 3 support, which is also something that we're excited about. This schedule is just a quick overview, and if you are a middle school teacher, you see this and go, aha, that's what I'm looking for. I need to know what period begins when and when it ends, and where lunch periods are, and where the fine arts periods are. And as I had indicated in this schedule, currently we don't have a flex block built into it. We don't have advisory. We anticipate that in order to do that, we would remove possibly 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes from a period. More to come on that, but this is how we would set up our bell schedule. As you can see, those horizontal lines are all aligned. If you were to look at our schedule today, they would not be, right? So we don't have students all passing at the same time as we would in this model, having more opportunities for supervision. We're going to get into some of that too, but really provides us flexibility that we don't currently have. I already addressed. I'm going to talk about some of those. Mentioned it from the beginning. Unblocking ELA and math undoes a lot of the constraints that we experience with our schedule together. You know that when a student is in period 1 and 2 math, they must also be in 2 and 3 ELA, and there's a big chunk of the day that are locked together without any kind of flexibility. So that was one of the things that we were hoping to address. The consistent bell schedule across all 3 grade levels for greater flexibility for staff and students who need help and support. This adjustment provides improved opportunities for staff to collaborate across curricular areas. Literacy and math remain an enhanced emphasis with a redistribution of instructional minutes and a redesign of some of the curriculum and class offerings. A commitment to world language and fine arts programming remaining in the schedule. All allows for staff I'm sorry, there is the opportunity which we're moving forward with a reduction of 1 FTE at the middle school that involves not retiring for one of our teachers who's retiring and also mitigates a reduction in force scenario in that case. This framework also allows for flexibility in the future. We've got significantly more opportunity to make adjustments as needed, and the schedule provides it. Provides flexibility to adjust student schedules as needed. There are certainly circumstances in the year where we need to change 1 or 2 classes. And in our current model, that could mean taking the entire schedule and rewriting it for a student where they would go to all new classes, again, because of that math and LA linkage connection there. I also wanted to mention supervision is improved with this, more teachers available during passing time to do that. For our 7th and 8th grade students, we still will have a brief kind of period of time in the day, a recess time for students to get some physical activity. We'll have the addition of 7th and 8th grade lunch having access to the gym during that time. Currently, we only have 1 grade level that has access to the gym. 6th grade would still be spending more time outside, but if I'm being honest with you, they're the ones that are more inclined to be outside and to show up prepared for the weather. So it actually works out quite well. Joe is going to talk a bit about those class offerings and give you some more specific details there.
As Nate talked about the reimagining and the realigning of how this schedule comes together, this is a really exciting part of this conversation. So as a 6th grader, so students coming into 6th grade next year, they would have 6 academic classes. They'll have a math class, they'll have an English language arts class, science, social studies, world language, and they'll be enrolled in what we're calling a communications course. I'm so excited about this course. It's going to be taught by our science and social studies teachers from all of the grade levels. And it's really focused on and designing to support students' abilities to write and communicate, especially when doing work with nonfiction and research-based tasks. It also is going to embed executive functioning skills. It's going to embed some of those study skills to help bridge that transition from 5th to 6th grade and set students up for success throughout their middle school career. I think it's a big transition to transition from 5th to 6th grade, and the more supports we can embed to help that and do that in a meaningful way and deliver it in a class that's not just a one-off, but really through the learning process will be really, really valuable. So in 6th grade, that communications course aligns with writing standards that students have and prioritizing their ways to communicate with one another and with teachers. In 7th grade, students will have math, ELA, science, social studies, world language, but they're also going to be enrolled in an additional math course, and we're calling it Math Practical Applications. And so we've realigned and reimagined what our sequential sequence would, course sequence would look like. And this class combines problem solving, creative thinking, and collaboration to deepen students' mathematical abilities while working on some of the core standards from across the grade levels. And it's designed to be a project-based, group-based, hands-on opportunity where students are analyzing different statistics, working with different probability, working through different geometry-based projects. I think it's a really just real-world application opportunity for some of the math projects to be expanded on that we've already been doing, but centralizing them in one place. As described by some of the folks working on this, some life math, doing math that actually applies in some really contextualized situations. And then in 8th grade, math, we're going to have science, social studies, world language. 8th grade students will also have writing. So we're really looking at the English language arts experience in 8th grade coming in 2 parts. A reading course, obviously, that has writing embedded in it as well, and a true writing course as well, ELA reading, ELA writing. So as students are continuing to mature as learners, but also being ready for what's next at the high school level, they have more instruction in reading and writing to support their next endeavors. Really designed to extend upon students' foundation in narrative, argumentative, informational writing, and prepare students for the academic rigors of the high school curriculum areas.
In addition to that, we're going to be spending some time evaluating how we provide additional support for kids. I should say that I met with the math department this morning as we were working through some of the course offerings, also looking at the scope and sequence, but identifying how many classes we need at each level. That group came up with some amazing solutions to some of the problems of intervening that we'd always had in our traditional schedule. And I should say that the LA department and science and social studies for that matter have all been digging in and addressing a lot of those things that we were hoping to address in the schedule. So I'm grateful to them. But I wanted to mention resource and academic enrichment for those of you that aren't familiar with those two classes. Resource is generally for students who have IEP that we're working on specific goals to address. Resource is generally is more of a general ed instructional piece. So resource is a special education class that focuses on students' individualized goals and executive functioning. Academic enrichment is the general education class that focuses on executive functioning. We continually monitor and adjust these supports to meet the students' needs. Those will continue to be part of the school day, but as I indicated before, some more flexibility as far as where that might come into play for a given student. Is it going to be an automatic removal from a world language and enrollment into a resource or an academic enrichment? Excited about that.
For advisory and also tier 2 support. So we'll start with advisory. Currently, students are assigned to an advisor. This year, we've had a partner advisory model. In the new schedule, students will continue to have an assigned advisory teacher. However, with the new model and some of the embedded supports that we have, we're returning to the single advisor model. So students will be in an advisory group of approximately 10 to 14 students as a home base that they would start their day with. Likely for the first weeks of school, advisory would meet on a daily basis. There's lots of work that goes in the setting up of the first days of school. But then as the year progresses, we'll probably roll that back to 2 or 3 days a week so that students have additional time in their classes. We also have what we call X block for the Roman numeral 10, formerly PM advisory. It's our 10th period. Will not have the same format. Currently, the tier 2 support sometimes students will meet with the teacher during that flexible time. However, we think there's a better way to do that. And so the tier 2 support can take place in the classroom, and we're looking at adding a flexible block embedded in the day, 2 to 3 days a week when we're ready to roll that out so that teachers can call students that they need to work with on a flexible basis, not a permanent basis, so that they can provide extra support throughout the course of the school year. In terms of tier 3 intervention, so tier 1 is the instruction that everybody receives. Tier 2 is the support that students need from their teachers, just an additional helping of support. Tier 3 is a little bit more targeted. It's focusing on students that really need targeted support in particularly reading, writing, or math. Right now, they take place at the end of the day during that X block period, 4 days a week. And while we've seen success there's got to be a better way than trying to work through one of your most difficult areas of study right at the end of the day. And so in our new schedule, these are going to be taking place during the school day. And students will receive the targeted support for a longer period of time each day, a full class period, every day of the week, and not just 4 days a week. With this model, more students should be able to graduate from the interventions in a shorter amount of time. So we're excited about moving in a direction to really hone in on being able to provide those interventions.
You also mentioned one of the keys to a tier 2 intervention that isn't currently in place in our schedule is the general ed teachers having the opportunity to provide those resources. And that really is the best way for tier 2 instruction to be delivered. It just isn't scheduled because of the way that it's built now. There will be opportunity for that in the new schedule. And so we're pleased to share that. Again, overall themes, just kind of to summarize, flexibility. We're going to have a whole lot more. It also is flexibility for the future. So we know that as we roll into our new framework for a schedule next year, we're going to continue to evaluate, we're going to continue to monitor for success. And if adjustments need to be made, we'll have the opportunity to do that. We'll have new opportunities at each grade level, continue our commitment to a well-rounded academic experience for kids. As you saw just before at the beginning of this meeting, we have a great deal of kids with a great number of talents, and we're really proud of the fact that they have the opportunity to have band and chorus and fine arts classes within their school day, also take a world language and receive the academic support that they need within that time frame. So with that, I didn't put a question slide in that I meant to. So this is your opportunity. If you have questions, Joan, I'd be happy to answer them.
How will you know, I mean, how will you know when everyone's ready to drop advisories 2 to 3 times a week or to add in that flex block? Like, is there some sort of metric for like, okay, now we're ready to do that?
It's kind of twofold, right? You've got to kind of get kids acclimated into the year, and we know that that takes some time, and it takes a little more time in 6th grade as compared to 7th and 8th grade. Also identifying kids who are then in need of some of that additional support that we would be applying. Luckily, they sort of tend to dovetail together as we're waiting from our need for advisory, executive functioning instruction and just how to be a middle school student. We're ramping up on our needs to do the other things. And so when we've traditionally begun some of that MTSS support is mid-September to the beginning of October.
Okay.
Yeah. Nancy, I see a hand.
When you say like flex block, like it would be like if I had to like take a quiz in math like that I wasn't there that day, it would like be during the math period.
So there's a couple of opportunities that are going to exist that don't currently exist. So to answer your question, yeah, it's possible that you wouldn't have to do it during your math period. We've actually been, I don't know, maybe letting the cat out of the bag a little early, but I'll bring it up because we're very excited about it. At the math level today, at the math department meeting today, we were looking at how we can schedule our classes such that when we do have a co-taught math class, that we can strategically place those into the 3 lunch periods that exist. So that as a teacher, when needed, a math teacher specifically, could back out, allow the other teacher to take over for a particular period of time, maybe one day, maybe a couple of days, and provide almost a math resource center for kids who would like to do that during the lunch period, for example, on a short-term basis. Maybe you missed a few days of math class and you missed some concepts. Now you've got a way to get that math instruction from a teacher during the school day, during lunch if you'd like. The other opportunity for the flex block specifically that you're asking about is to look at embedding that into the school day. And that would be where those teachers are going to be available for some additional help.
Mhm.
Maybe taking a test, but maybe
Like,
providing. But
Any teacher, or would it be like my math teacher?
Imagine like, you know how you get pulled to go to ELO and
Yeah.
X block? Imagine every teacher was offering an ELO at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And they would pull students all over the building to go work on what each student needed.
Yeah.
So it could be you getting pulled with your math teacher,
Mhm.
and your classmate could also be pulled to go work with their math teacher, or pulled to work with their ELA teacher or Spanish teacher.
Oh, so like there would be like 2 to 3 times a week, everyone would be.
Everyone's going somewhere.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
it sounds like a logistical challenge, and it is. And I would tell you that there are some great technical resources out there that we've already reviewed and looked at. Actually, one of them is already embedded into the e-hall pass system that we currently use. It's a flexible scheduling system, allowing teachers to invite, if you will, kids in for a flex time, and possibly students to do the same thing. Hey, I'd really like to see this teacher already available on this day. So yeah, that's something we're building to it. Carrie.
Would the flex block allow for like a study hall at any point? Because I know a lot of kids get their homework done in X block. And
So-
if that's going away.
How I would look at the flex period when we develop that, certain students would be requested to meet with certain teachers. There may be times where a student is not requested to work on a specific subject, receive additional instruction in a certain area. And I would anticipate there'd be opportunities for the students that wouldn't be requested for a specific subject or a specific learning opportunity to have that opportunity to get some work completed.
What if multiple teachers want one kid?
And that's where we have to work together. And that's where this system that I just referenced is going to help us. We can even prioritize, the teachers can prioritize for you which class we're going to want you to attend in that given day. But it's a good question, fair question.
I think the new classes sound really exciting, the communications, the practical applications, the writing, that's.
Particularly as we listen to the feedback that we've gotten and that emphasis for communication and writing skills. We are excited about, particularly in that 6th grade communications class, to be able to incorporate some of those, like just welcome to middle school skills that kids need to know. We can go as far as to call it a freshman orientation, but there's some elements of feel of that especially at the beginning as we're building this. And then also the opportunity for the integration of writing across curriculum from social studies and science area specialists to be working and creating those cross-curricular connections within that communications class. We know that there's great value in that, and we can be more deliberate about it. And it's also enabling our science and social studies teachers to stretch themselves in some ways that they haven't recently. So we're excited about that. Any other questions that you might have?
So I had, first off, I can appreciate this, very challenging to put together, but I can also sense your enthusiasm for it.
There's a lot of enthusiasm. Yes, indeed.
Good. I'm just trying to get my head around the sixth grade. So the science teachers will teach how many the science teacher will teach how many science classes?
They'd have 5 sections of science, so that's a reduction in 1 class. And then they would add into that the communications class. Each science and social studies teacher will have 5 of their traditional classes that they've taught, whether it be science or social studies, plus the communications class.
So, but somehow you got to get 6 communication, how many
I have 6
communication
science,
classes
yeah,
each day?
exactly, right? Thank you for doing it. So a 6th grade student may have a communications class taught by a 7th grade traditionally science teacher or an 8th grade social studies teacher. Those teachers will be teaching across grade level into teaching those communications classes across grade level.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say that right. No matter the grade level that the science or social studies teacher is traditionally in, they'll have a 6th grade section of communications. That's how we get our 6 sections.
Okay. And so also looking at math, I don't know, math is, our big challenge. We were, it's the lowest one we had, the one that showed no growth really last year and was, we really were pretty well lights out with language arts. And growth from language arts, but math is kind of flat and certainly below where we want it. But in 6th grade, we're cutting back on to just a 44-minute class.
So a couple things in response to that. Thing number 1, we will have more opportunity to intervene and support in math than we have had before. I mentioned to you 2 items about that. The fact that a math teacher will be available to meet with students during lunch. We'll also have a math teacher co-teaching with a student supports team member to actually have a math teacher working in the tier 3 realm, which we have never had before. So I would consider those to be 2 very big wins as far as math instruction goes. I also want to encourage our board members and parents and students to look at the sequence across the 3 years, because it can be easy to hyper-focus on one period. I did the math, I crunched the numbers over the course of 3 years. Currently, our students receive 526 hours of math instruction. Over the course of 3 years in this model, we're talking 516, 1% difference in math instructional minutes and hours. So it's not a huge, it's a redistribution of time. We're adding more in the 7th grade year, and we've taken a little bit away from the 6th grade. But over the course of their 3 years, they're really not missing out or losing a big percentage of minutes.
Well, that was what I was going to ask, because math is foundational, so you have to know your math facts coming into 6th grade to be able to figure out the area of a rectangle. But so the 6th grade teachers now are not going to be expected to accomplish everything that's on their agenda for this year.
That's correct.
You're going to move some of that to
Reallocated.
7th grade.
Yeah, that's really what that additional math class in 7th grade is all about. Creating some additional opportunities to move some of the statistics and probability topics into that class. What's also exciting about that class is the opportunity for more heterogeneous mixture of students. Right now, we've got students that are really grouped to some degree by ability level in all of their math classes. And we'll have an additional math class in 7th grade where you'll have the opportunity for more heterogeneous mixtures, which we know are better for kids and better for instructional purposes as well.
And I was especially interested in the multi-tier student support that you think you're going to be able to expand, and because one of the problems with the IAR, I think, is just getting students who aren't at grade level, getting them caught up to grade level? Is that the objective there? you think?
Absolutely, we want all students achieving at grade level and above in all of their subjects. One of the things in our current MTS programming being at the end of the school day, it's not, it needs more time allocated towards it. And currently, a student may have approximately 100 minutes a week dedicated to a tier 3 MTSS program. And they need more than that. And so in this model, a student would have 5 days of a full class period dedicated to that, over 200 minutes a week of that tier 3 MTSS support. So for students that need, quite a bit of support, they'll be able to get that. Students that need just a small amount of support to close those gaps and maybe the holes that exist can do so in a faster amount of time. So I absolutely see that as a strength of the new schedule.
And having a proper tier 2 in place would hopefully cut off the numbers of kids who might need that tier 3 level support as well. That's
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, because I think we gotta try a few things different.
Right.
To try to break out of, and move up a level instead of just kind of trying the same thing, year after year.
Did you say, forgive me if you said this, are we planning on this starting 25-26 school year?
Yes.
Excited.
Yeah, I think we're excited as well.
All right, well, thank you. Are there any other questions for Nate and Joe? Keep us posted.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna talk about the community roundtable, debrief with Dr. Leal.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of have an open time for anyone to provide any feedback on the roundtable that we did a couple of weeks ago. I think we had a great turnout. We had a lot of kind of good questions asked. And I've had some follow-up, also the coffees with parents, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening. The morning and afternoon sessions were more well-attended. I'd say between 6 and 7 parents at each of those sessions. And then the evening session at the library, I think I had 2 people that evening, but the topics ranged anywhere from follow-up questions from the roundtable to Science Olympiad, which, by the way, congrats to our Science Olympians who are going to state, to, just
Great.
other questions. So both opportunities were great to hear kind of what's on parents' minds. And I just wanted to open up to any other questions the board had after those. After that meeting.
I heard from a lot of parents that really loved it.
Good. That's awesome. Specifically, what the opportunity to,
I think the whole presentation and the transparency, breaking everything down, giving the history of why things have been done this way and what we're changing. But I had a lot of coffees, and everyone I talked to, the first thing they said was that the roundtable was genuinely helpful.
that's great feedback.
So the plan is to continue with coffee type scenarios next year. We can look to strategically plan roundtables at different times of the year when things come up if we'd like next year, but it's great. So that's all I have for that one.
And I just love that the message is out there to the community that we, as an administration and a board, want transparency, want interaction, want feedback, want parents to know that they matter just as much. So, thank you. Copier contract.
So we currently have 10 Canon copiers in the district, and our lease runs through January of 2026. We were approached by Konica Minolta. Kevin had worked with them at District 214 and had a very good experience, and so he went to contacts. And they approached us with an offer. They're coming to the end of their quarter and looking to basically buy market share from Canon. So offered to buy out our current lease, provide us with 8 new copiers, very similar to what we have currently. And the net of it is that we would save about $1,000 a month on the copy costs. That is one of our few discretionary costs, and one that we've been focused on this year as a way to make sure that we're allocating our resources to the highest use. So to make sure we can keep money in the classrooms, we looked at we asked teachers to try to cut back on the total copying. And those volumes that were used, that we are down by 20% this year, and those are what we use for the new contract for. So, I'm recommending that the board approving the lease and that we transition. We need to take possession of the machines by the end of March, but we'll find a good time to switch over. They can have to plug them in very well, so to cause the lease. Staff. And we should have 5 more years of very reliable machines, some kind of solid printing. And,
Fabulous. Any questions on that?
So there's no change for the teachers as far as capabilities of these.
all the machines have the same finishers. They can staple a whole bunch what they need. I did add a higher volume finisher to the middle school so that we can have more packets, because I think people are running out of space. We don't hold this on so many greater than it. So, and I think those may only function on the black and white copiers. Color copiers tend to be slower and do less volume, and black and white just because of the complexity of pulling from different formats. So some of the wish list items we couldn't fulfill just due to the nature of how copiers work. At the elementary school, we are reducing the number just because we had them originally placed, and since we moved them around, we copied really close to each other, and we could turn on a little bit, save some money and not.
Thanks, Jane. Moving on to electronic door lock hardware purchase.
So we've been talking about this project for a while. I think it was supposed to go last summer, and we ended up postponing it. The goal is to replace all of the classroom doors, and really, thanks to Austin, every door in the district that has a key lock with an electronic lock. The benefits to this are that it will work with our access control system that we use for our exterior doors. We will have, we'll be able to more, be able to grant access at a more, at a lower level, at a more specific level for individualized. We'll have records of who accesses different areas. The nice thing is that if we call a lockdown, we can press one button, even the buttons and the buttons in the classrooms, the panic buttons, and all the doors didn't know. So we do have a lock door policy, but this will enable teachers. It'll be easier for teachers to have locked doors because access is not. It's easier in the phone. We're with their phone. We don't have to get out this key and stick it in the lock. Plus, we have the lockdown capability where we can lock it when you do or push the button. And then we also have the key management problems right now where we issue keys and get them back, and it's a security risk to keys floating around. So for all those reasons, we were looking to do this project. And I believe that there may be some cost increases in April for the hardware, plus we have some extra budget freed up this year. We wanted to spend some of the money this year and some of the money next year over the summer. So I'm really looking for the authority to spend up to $250,000 before the end of this fiscal year on any hardware purchases that we would need to do the project.
Is there any concern with power outages or network?
All of these locks are battery operated. They let you know when the batteries are running low. We may, as just the original plan was to replace the battery annually, whether it needs it or not. Austin has had experience with these locks in other districts, and they said that they're very good at telling you when they need the batteries. So when the power fails, the doors still operate, and they also retain the instructions. So the system communicates with the doors, and you basically, the program is downloaded from the system to the door, and it really resides on the door. So the only time you really need communication to the system is to exchange information. If the power goes down, all of the people who have access, like that's all stored within the door, so it should work. And that also brings me to like the following summer, we're planning on putting in emergency generator capability so that we don't also.
Sounds great, thank you. And then 5-year transportation contract.
So, the transportation purchasing law has changed. In the past, you were allowed to have a 3-year contract and then you could renew it for 2 years. And then you could renew it once a year annually. Indefinitely, unless somebody, requested for me to bid the business. I could have it. So we bid transportation, and we selected Olson Transportation in 2004. And then we rebid it in 2011, and since that time, we did a 3-year and a 2-year, and have just been renewing annually. And it's always been one of my least favorite things to do is to call up Olson in the spring and like, we don't really have an option, so we know we're with you and you can just tell us what your price increase needs to be, and then we haggle back and forth. And so, the bidding law has changed, and I think it was driven by the introduction of electric buses. They were looking for longer term contracts so that companies could invest in these expensive buses. So the bidding law has changed. You are no longer allowed to be with a company for more than 10 years. You can do a 5-year contract with an option to renew, or you can do a 10-year contract with a kind of an opt-out. So we have also been reluctant to bid in the past because it's been very competitive. Drivers have been very scarce, and we were afraid nobody else would be interested in the business because they didn't have the drivers, and also just come back with a large increase and we'd be stuck. So we've avoided it. Due to the change in law, we went out for bid. We did it jointly with Lake Forest School Districts, high school and elementary, and with Deerfield. We are pretty much Olson's entire business between the 4 districts. They have some other small side businesses. And we had limited, there's a list in the packet of who we sent the bids out to. You can see we only had, for us, Deerfield got 4 bidders, we got 3. Olson was right in, was low, and came back with a very competitive bid, and we're very committed to keeping the business and buying new buses. Like, I think their long-term contract also is good for them because they have some stability and they have agreed to invest in new buses, and gave us some very attractive pricing. So now I know we're locked in for 5 years with reasonable increases for the next 5 years that I can budget for. And that was significantly lower than we had in the past. Also, the thought of changing bus companies was not something because it's a big headache. Like, sometimes a fresh set of eyes can improve things, but generally they know the area, they know the kids, they know the buildings, they do a good job, they're safe, and it's good to stay with them. So I'm very excited about the results. Really. Looking forward to a 5-year contract, and then there's another 5-year option.
And so you can stay with Olson, we can stay with Olson for more than 10 years, we just can't do that without taking it out to bid?
Yeah, you can stay with any company as long as you want, but you do need to bid it.
Yeah.
Bidding transportation is a lot more flexible. There are a lot fewer rules, or I guess the law is also written so that you have a lot of different criteria you can evaluate. It's not just lowest set of things. Transportation actually gets preference to safety and comfort and other things above finances. So if you really wanted to stay with your transportation company, you can award them the bid. Even if other people bid at a lower price, but you do need to bid them. So at least every 10 years.
Okay.
So, you had, in North America, did they not submit a bid, or you've got them on the list and they were the low bidder,
So the bus bidding or pricing is also a little bit confusing because of how it is, how we bid it. We asked for shared routes as well as exclusive routes. We are able to share some of our buses with Lake Forest High School, given our schedules for our dismissal. So right now, a bus will do, we have 3 buses that will do the PM drop off from the elementary school. And they go to the middle school and do some drop offs, and then they go to Lake Forest High School and do some routes. So we split the cost of the bus between us and Lake Forest High School. So the 116 number that you're looking at, that was for half a route. And so they just said it's easier just to bid a half a route And so that 116 would be 116 for the elementary school and 116 for the middle school. Whereas the Olson number of 174 was 174 for both elementary and middle school.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Can people hear me? This is Tim. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, Tim, you can. Hang on one second.
So you just push the plus button.
Hold on, Tim.
Yeah, James. So the plus on the side. Tim, say something.
Can you hear me?
Try a few more times.
All right, let's,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
No? Okay, good. Just to confirm, Jay, the rates, the increase for each year, those are set rate increases and not tied to CPI.
Correct, those are set rate increases.
Thank you.
So we're actually, we're seeing, they've been a decrease of almost 1% for next year, so our rates will go down, and then 3 to 2.5% are the rates for the future, so. See, that tends to be around CPI, that's what we would be, that's what we would expect more of a traditional rate decrease for our
That's great.
and the plan.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to our action items for this evening. The first one is the approval of the 2025-26 staffing. May I have a motion to approve the 2025-26 staffing recommendation as discussed in the February 25th meeting? As a reminder, this is adding a one team.
Adding 1 point, a decrease of 1.0 at the middle school and adding a 0.5 tech support at the middle school. Net zero change at the elementary
Thank you.
for this tentative staff.
So may I have a motion to approve that staffing recommendation?
Second.
Does anyone want any further discussion or questions on that? Lauren, may we have a roll call vote?
Sure. Laura Breakstone,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes, Tim Penich.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next is the approval of the copier contract. May I have a motion to approve the copier contract as just presented by Jaycon?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions on that? Can we have a vote, please, Lauren?
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes, Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes,
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Laura Breakstone.
Yes.
that motion passes. Approval of electronic door lock hardware purchase. May I have a motion to approve the electronic door lock hardware purchase as just discussed?
So moved.
Second.
I thought this was already approved.
It was, but I believe there's a change in cost, is that right?
Actually, the only thing that was approved was for the application of the grant, so the board had to approve the grant application, because we got $50,000 from the state to a matching grant to fund the project, but it didn't include the project, so the project has not actually been approved in total. I'm sort of getting the approval just for the equipment now, and we'll come back with remainder for the contract with whatever vendor we choose, probably next meeting.
Okay.
Good question. It was a good impression. Are there any further questions or discussion on this? Lauren, can we have a roll call?
Lauren Hirsch, yes, Richard Driver,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Laura Breakstone.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is the approval of the 5-year transportation contract. May I have a motion to approve the 5-year transportation contract as just presented?
Someone.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions on this? Lauren, may we have a vote?
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Laura Breakstone,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes, Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is the personnel report. I will read it. All right, non-licensed new hires. Alana Hernandez as a guest teacher in either building effective March 11, 2025, at a rate of $150 per day. Danielle Valente, guest teacher in either building effective March 20, 2025, at a rate of $150 per day. We have 4 resignations. Danielle Valente, library media specialist at LVMS, effective March 19, 2025. Alexa Dickinson, first through 5th grade Spanish teacher at LVES, effective date June 3rd, 2025. Amanda Long, social worker at LVES, effective date June 3rd, 2025. Riley Worthen, pre-K through 2nd grade music teacher at LVES, effective date June 3rd, 2025. They have a motion to approve the personnel report for March 18, 2025.
So moved.
Second,
Lauren, can we have a vote, please?
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
yes.
Sherry Steinbach.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes.
That motion passes. Next up is the consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the following. Open session meeting minutes from February 25, 2025, regular Board of Education meeting. The treasurer's report. There was no impressed report this month. The bills report, the P-card report, and the activity account report. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for March 18, 2025, as presented by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I had one question. There's a bill for putting attendance into Power School or something.
Yes,
Is that an annual, is that a license that one?
that is a new. We have struggled to send attendance letters home, just notifying people of attendance. And I believe it also it may allow parents to submit attendance online. This is a new module for Power School. That there's a one-time startup fee and then an annual $700 subscription business fee. So then payments for the first year plus the first annual license fee, and then it will be $700.
So this was a sub-program of Power School that we,
Right, it's kind of a plug-in for Power School.
and so we purchased it now and just $700.
Yeah, we purchased it and then going forward, it will be. Robust.
Okay, thanks.
So are we gonna start using that for attendance? Not this year. High school uses it.
It helps us, yeah.
It's so nice. It helps us to streamline a lot of things. So there'll be a convenience for both admin and parents, but we're not quite ready to roll it out yet. We're learning.
Any further discussion? Would anyone like anything pulled out of the consent agenda for a separate vote? Lauren, can we have a vote?
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Sherry Steinbach. Yes. Lauren Hirsch, yes. Tim Penich.
Yes.
That motion passes. We do not have any FOIA requests this month. We are back to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make a public comment? If so, please raise your hand. Not seeing anyone, we will.
Say a little something.
Yes,
Good.
you can.
I don't want to say the podium. I'm just gonna read my words right here. That
Deal.
for everybody?
Deal.
Okay. It is with a heavy heart that I attend my last meeting as a member of the District 65 board. While this chapter is coming to an end, I'm incredibly grateful for the time that I've spent alongside all of you. I've learned from you and gained deeper perspectives from each of you. I'm so proud of the work that we've accomplished together for our students. It has been proactive and thoughtful, and this is such a dedicated group. I will truly miss being part of that. Thank you for your open minds and your commitment to communication and the continuous supportive atmosphere that we have for one another. I'm especially grateful for the support and patience that goes along with a board member who might have had a house burned down and a mother sick and all those things when she was not completely on her game. Most of all, I want to thank you for the friendships that have been created in the time that we've spent together that I've really enjoyed. Even though I'm stepping away from this role, my love for the community still remains, and even though I won't have a child in this district, I hope to still be involved as a community member in our district. This town is so very lucky to have everybody that sits here tonight, supporting them, proactively looking for things to do for their children, and putting the commitments in place that everyone has. And lastly, I want to thank you, Lisa, for your incredible leadership. I have so much respect for you and what you do, and I'm not really sure when you sleep. You're constantly learning, constantly looking for ways to learn. I mean, classes, podcasts, whatever. You know the answer to every question any of us ask. Your integrity and your commitments and your personality are perfect in this district. We are so lucky. And it's hard to know that unless you work as closely to you as we do. Your guidance has been invaluable to me, and I'm sure the other board members would agree with that. I've learned so much from you. So thank you for everything, your assistance in helping me buy a car and filling in for me at True North, and Ian for leading us, and helping me manage a night where I learned I would no longer be on this board. And Lauren for always having exactly what I need at all times, whether it be in purse or check in thermals when my house burns down or a ride for my kid. Jake for teaching both of my kids and having such a great perspective that none of us have from this actual day-to-day work. And Carrie for always having excellent timing. When my house is on fire or my mom has just died, just follow up perfectly.
That perfectly timed question.
I really wanted to put the email out. In the voicemail, because I hope that's not your house. And Coach Jade, and all the support and all the stupid questions that I ask. You're so nice about it. Because you don't have to, you could definitely laugh. So thank you for everything, you guys. It's been an honor to serve with all of you, and I will really miss this.
We will miss you, and it has been an honor to serve with you. I think I speak for all of us when I say that.
And the force is lucky to.
We're gonna hold it over them for a long time. No, but honestly, it has been an honor. So thank you for your time, for your dedication, for your friendship. While your board position may be changing, your relationships with all of us are not. I have a little bit more to say. So first of all, I think I'm in denial that this is your last meeting. I think over the last 24 hours I've come to that conclusion, because even until 10 minutes ago, I was like, what's happening? I remember meeting you the first time and talking through your family and learning about you and learning about your kids and just thinking what a tremendous asset you were going to be as a board. And I had no idea the perspective that you would bring and the generous spirit that you have, that you've always brought to this table in every discussion. I feel so incredibly lucky to have met you and to work with you. And yes, Matt is lucky, and I will never let him forget it. I don't think everyone, just as you said about me, I don't think everyone realizes what a quiet encourager that you are. Somebody who's always ready to answer any question or take on anything. I remember when Amy Kotnick was hired, and maybe I wasn't paying attention to my emails, and a couple of times sent Amy Kotnick an email about something to do, and you answered and said, I'm more than happy to make that phone call. Give me a little bit more background and I will take care of it. Always willing to help. Our district photographer who comes in and shoots the best pictures of us and our kids, that showcases the amazing work that our staff does. And I don't lose phone numbers. So we will be keeping in touch. And we do have a small gift for you from the whole team.
that everyone contributed to, and if we need help deciphering the and I can help you. But maybe you wouldn't mind reading it out loud, because it is an acrostic.
No. Thank you for your dedication to Lake Bluff School District 65 for education, 2021, 2025. Amy Connell Donahue, all right. Amy always inspiring with insight so true. A leader, a friend, will dearly miss you. Oh, your initials. You wrote it. That's so lovely.
We can make a key to the back.
Memorializing all of our joint conference fun. Thank you for your mugs, pictures, ornaments, and calendars. Of everyone, sorry, of everyone.
My glasses.
Read a little silly. No, I can read it. It's a script. All right, let me.
Lauren has everything.
It's so much easier. Everyone being a little silly there. Prominently displayed in my office to remind me of all the fun we have had. Your vision and your wisdom have guided us through our creativity, shaping ideas, bold and new. CS, here's that one. Charitable, even when facing her own adversity. TM. TB, TR. Oh, open-hearted. And never without insight or wit. This is lovely. These things are not all. And notable photographer of her many misadventures and shenanigans. LB, E, energetic, KK, loads of laughs and legendary photo gifts. LH, loyal to Lake Bluff School District 65, AJ, D, dedicated to our schools and students, DD. Owe the commitment to Lake Bluff School District 65. We are so grateful. MB, never a dull moment. You always have a story to tell. KB, overflowing with joy, kindness, and fun. AK, humor laced with wisdom, quick and keen. KTK, understanding the individual needs of students and advocating for the success. JJ, everyone deserves a woman like Amy in their life. She keeps us laughing, real, and accountable. Thank you for your service, Amy. Thank you, thank you.
I'm gonna adjourn this meeting so that we can go celebrate.
May
May I have a motion to adjourn the March 18, 2025 regular Board of Education meeting at 8:39 p.m. All in favor? Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. You want to take That's the perfect ending. The timing is great. Please join us at Navasi. Please join us at Mabry to celebrate Amy.
Next time, Major.